Welcome to Vintage Radio Cafe, your #1 channel for relaxing vintage audio restoration. If you like watching an idiot wielding a soldering iron, you've come to the right place. Watch Ray's attempts to fix wonderful forgotten radios from another era, way before transistors. Sometimes he even gets them working again. What could go wrong, right?
Okay guys, so welcome back to day 7. On the 6th day I did most of the recapping of the chassis. There's only 3 caps left to do on the chassis per se, and those caps are the shielded ones. So just to show you what a shielded cap is, it's just a regular cap, but on the foils, not on the foil, but on the exterior, there's an extra wire, which is the shield. And when you want to reproduce that, you have to wrap a wire around the body of the capacitor without touching any of the other leads, and then putting some foil and finishing off with some heat shrink. Okay, just have to remember where the shielded wire goes. So the finished product looks like this, and I've marked it in black so I know which of the legs is for the shield, the exterior shield. What is confusing though is on the original they marked in black just one of the leads, like probably to indicate the black band here, which is the foil side of the capacitor, instead of marking the shield leg. So you have to pay attention to do it the same way. But basically, I'll try to show this on camera. It's yeah, you can see the sun coming here. No, but it's just a matter of bending neatly. I don't know how many turns I should do. If I'm doing too many, I don't know. Just have to keep some lead to be able to put it back in place. So I'll make it neat as neat as I can. Already turn this neatly around, nothing's protruding. Okay, so it'll be something like this. Just bend it neatly. So something like this. Trying to get out of the sun. That's why I prefer during the winter to work at night, because the sun is really low during the winter here, and you start to get the long shadows like that. So then, just a matter of putting some foil. Get the leads out of the way as much as I can. And roll up some foil on top of it. When you apply enough pressure, it sort of takes the shape of the coil. I'm not sure I have enough here, but it'll be something like that. Then see how much of the heat shrink I need. Something like this. Sorry about the sun. and we'll heat shrink it on it. So it should be something like that. And once I figure out exactly in what position it goes in, I can just identify it with a marker, just like I did with this one. So that's the idea. That's how you do it. So that'll be the second one, C313. The other one will be C1313. And the last one is a different value. It's a 0.022. Those are 0.01s at 160. So yeah, let me put this in. Okay guys, so welcome back to day 8. 8-day working on the radio. Yesterday, day 7, I finished pretty much the whole recapping, and I had to revisit the big electrolytic filter can, which you cannot really see there, simply because I realized when I was just about to do my first test that one of the positive contact was making contact, was touching to the side, to the where you mount the can, so to the negative, and I had to fix that. It's just that I didn't orient the plate where the tabs are correctly. I just had to move it like I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, so it would be perfectly aligned, so the contacts in the center wouldn't touch anymore. So I had to redo that. Took me a couple of hours, and so now I'm just about to start, at least do a first test, and if I can measure the voltage I'm getting from the rectifier, because I do want to change it, but I want to know where I'm starting, well, what I'm starting with. And oh yeah, I have to show you this. This is a brand new addition to the workshop. It was made by a new friend of mine, a subscriber to the channel, who said he thought I would have use for a platter, a turntable like that. And yeah, he was right, but I didn't have I don't have a wood shop, as you know, not a proper one at least. And so he did this for me, and he used, the guy's a true electro technician, and he works in printing, commercial printing, and he used one of those, 8 of those little wheels there, which I believe are used in the printing industry. They're more like rollers. So he did all these the side mounts out of wood, so it only turns in one direction. So this should help me a lot. I really appreciate it, Richard. Thank you very much. I am going to use it every time. So now the plan is to put the radio inside the cabinet, but keep the transformer part loose if I can. It's connected, but just to be able to back it out a little bit, so I can hook a meter on it if I can. So this is the plan for the next I don't know, couple of hours. Yeah. So let me do that, and I'll be back once I'm ready to start testing. So okay, I got the radio inside of the cabinet. It's bolted down with only 2 of the 4 screws, and I left the transformer just laying around, laying on the bottom, but with no screws, so I could back it up a little bit in order to connect the multimeter. So it is the moment of truth, because after doing a full recap, and especially the big electrolytics, this is where we find out if I made a mistake. So no further ado, let's monitor the DC, go on the variac and start on dim bulb at, start lower, maybe at 85 volts or so. Send the power. Let's try AM first. Should be somewhat tuned to 800. Okay, the lights, they are on but very weak. So for 81 watts going in, the bulbs just came on for a second, which is normal. We're getting 178 volts DC. Not expecting to have sound. We don't. Nothing is burning. Let's put a little more voltage. Let's go to 95. So we're getting 140-ish DC, volt DC out. Oh. Have sound. Let's try going a little bit higher.
My line of demarcation is December 16th, 1991.
110.
When I found out he was gone.
So filament are coming on a little bit brighter. The radio is pulling 35 watts. At full power, it should pull 80.
I realized that I had learned a lesson from what happened to him. I wanted to organize it.
À compter de 22 heures, bon, dans quelques minutes, jusqu'à 5 heures demain matin. En direction ouest.
Maybe a bit of oscillation here, I'm not sure. Hockey game. This is a very, very strong station. It's 690, AM 690. So far, so good. Tuning is smooth on AM. Yeah, this is a weaker station. 600. Okay, I'm surprised I'm getting any output out of it at only 135 volts. The expected voltage unrestricted is should be 270. So let's go all the way to 120. $120 restricted. Go back to a stronger station.
And then they started icing the puck, and they started going with these east-west passes in their zone and through the neutral zone, and they were getting picked off, or they were not connecting tape to tape. And then all of a sudden, when that happens, and your momentum is going one way, and you turn it over,
This humming.
where the possession changes, and the other team comes right back.
Let's try FM. Now pulling almost 40 watts, 145. This one here should be getting something there. But again, at 144 volts DC, it's not surprising. Also, all the tubes are weak, every single one of them, so I don't trust them. But for testing, it's okay, I suppose. The pilot lamps are a little bit brighter. So let's go down a bit and try this unrestricted. Back to 100 volts. Then at full power. Not getting much on the FM.
Okay, Tiger Woods is part of this.
So
PGL golf. I've noticed there's a.
this is what we got for the moment. So we know we have reception, we know we have output, and we know the voltage from the rectifier is really low. So next thing is to build a rectifier. This time I'm going to try to, this time I'm going to try to make one with a variable voltage dropper. Show you this. Yeah, another one of Manuel's boards. Here we have it. But this time with a variable, old trim pot, and a MOSFET, and the regular diodes. So no MOSFET. So if this works, I should be able to adjust the voltage very close to 270 without having to solder and desolder resistor all the time. So that's my starting point for tomorrow, day 9. And if this goes well, then I'll be able to start on the cabinet. Can't wait to clean the grill cloth and to find a solution for the missing trims here. After some research, I did find out that they were brass or some kind of gold metal originally, but I can't find for the love of me anything that fits there because the dimensions are not the same. It's like 1/8 of an inch here and 3/8 on this in this direction. So I'm probably going to go with wood, and either I'll put gold paint or I'll make a contrast painting them black, something like that. I might restain this to a darker color. Not sure yet what I'm going to do. It wouldn't be as original, but it's in pretty sad shape as it is now. There's some stains, some glue stains, I believe, here. So probably I'm going to sand it down a bit. Maybe restain it either the same color or close to it, or something darker. Not sure. What I don't like about the color scheme of this radio is that everything is brown, beige and brown. It lacks a little bit of pop, of contrast. So I'll see what I'll do. I like to keep everything original, but I don't mind improving also. So my radio, my rules, I guess. So we'll see. So catch you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to day 10. 10th day working on the Telefunken radio. And yesterday, actually late last night, while I was listening to the game, and we lost against the Red Wings Detroit, the Detroit Red Wings. While I was listening to the game, I started working on the rectifier. So this is the transformer assembly. It's on its left side. It's supposed to be rotated like that. So the bottom would be this part. This is the top. So this is where the original rectifier was mounted. And as you can see, it's not the usual form factor I'm used to seeing. It's a slightly bigger one. 250 volts and 150 microamps. Yeah, so a little bit more powerful, but basically the same. And you can see the indication for the middle. You have the AC coming in and the DC coming out, negative and positive on the extremity on each side. So okay, what do I do with that? Well, for this one, since I estimate I have more room to work with, although once the transformer is inside the cabinet, it's hard to access the rectifier per se, but at least for adjusting the voltage, I figured I could use one of those. Those are the latest rendition of Manuel Caldera's rectifier boards. So the difference with this one, it's a more complex one with a trimmer pot. So there's a voltage dropper with a MOSFET here. So this one is partially assembled. And let me show you what it looks like completely done. So you have your MOSFET, you have the trimmer pot. There's one 0.1 microfarad 100 volt capacitor, a resistor, I think it's a 220 resistor, and of course your four diodes, silicon diodes, so you get a more modern rectifier. So the real issue with all this was, since the MOSFET drain is the ground, it goes to ground. Well, if your chassis is effectively ground, there's no problem in, connecting this screw directly to your chassis. Why I didn't do it is just because, well, I know the whole chassis in this type of radio is ground, is chassis ground. Well, the way they did this one, as you can see, all the contacts are floating. So nothing is, there's no continuity with the ground from the can per se. So I decided I would go for a floating design. So I made another little case, if you will. And what you see here is there's a screw holding the MOSFET down, and with some thermal paste. And I just put a, well, you can't see it like that, but just a nylon tube here to make sure it wouldn't go any lower than that. And I glued it with hot glue. And on the other side, well, it's the same thing, but I'll have a longer screw to be able to fit it and hold it on the transformer per se. And what I needed to do, well, wasn't a regular cap. I needed to make a cutaway. So once it's all assembled, try to do this on camera. Once it's completely reassembled, try to line this up here. Yeah, so I've got just enough threads to be able to fit it here. It's going to go like this, and I can fit a screw at the bottom. So this part is a little bit loose, so I'll just tape this part and hot glue the rectifier can, the new can, just to make certain. But with this screw, fit it in, it's not going to go anywhere, but just to be extra sure. Okay, so let me move this closer. So the plan today will be to run new wires, reconnect everything back, at least temporarily, so I can adjust it, because there's a little adjusting screw on top of the trimmer, which I need to be able to access. So I'll probably use one of the tuning rods that I have, plastic tuning rods, but this is the idea. So I think it's a 10-turn pot. The screw is really small, so the idea will be to adjust the voltage turning this. So that's the plan for today, trying to adjust the voltage, because you know, in any electrical device, you have to start with the power supply, right? I mean, I'm getting not even 160 volts out of the old can. Well, this one is done. It's come to the end of its useful life. The original selenium. Thank you for your service, but you have to go. So 100, not even 160 volts when I should be having 270. So that's like 59% of its voltage. I can't expect the radio to work properly. So that's the plan. And I'll be back once I figure out how to connect this temporarily, probably using contact strips, something like that. Just to make it safe. Try to not zap myself, because it's very high voltage, you know. I'm aiming at 270 volts, so best not to get a shock, right? So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back after working almost all day on trying to fit the rectifier outside of the cabinet. So what I've got going is just a terminal strip. So I put some longer wires from the AC supply coming out of the transformer, and also the link for the DC going back. And here is the rectifier. Hopefully I'll be able to adjust it if need be. Okay guys, so I'm back. It's the next day. So technically it's the 11th day for me working on the radio, but I still consider it the 10th day because I didn't do much yesterday, and because I didn't go to the mailbox and I didn't realize the vacuum tubes were already there. So they spent probably the night at minus 19 degrees. So I let them warm up before I put them in the radio. I went one by one, or at least I started with the output valves, the ECL 86. I put those in. There weren't much difference. So I kept on, and at one point the radio really came to life. The sputtering of the sound stopped, although there's still an issue with the volume control. The pot I haven't cleaned because it's wrapped in a sort of a shroud of cotton tape to prevent it from getting dirty. But yeah, over 60 years, it still became dirty, so it's really scratchy. But as you'll see, the radio works much better now. So I just want to show you. So I'm going to start it immediately on full power. Monitor the DC. Hopefully you can see this. Okay. Let's start with AM. So as you can see, the radio turns on. The voltage starts high, will go down, then it'll stabilize, hopefully somewhere near 270. Or so. So I will put right away the mains voltage to what I usually have here, 120. Sometimes it goes all the way up to 122, but never goes lower than 120. 121. So spot on 120. As you can see, the DC voltage is a bit high, so, but it's stable. You can see the radio tunes fairly good.
Sorry, everybody. Usually it's hard as the first caller through, but clearly John is a listener of the show, so he knows not to go with the most obvious answer. So sorry, Warren, Marco, Andrew. I know you guys were all waiting. Warren to the first caller through.
Let's try FM.
Keith, I mean, is there anything
so 283
about the rookie season
for 120 mains coming in. So you should have a better view now. So I have to be able to see what I'm doing.
Valérie, on se reparle la semaine prochaine. Merci beaucoup.
À bientôt.
Salut. C'était Valérie
Not
Bourgeois
really
pour la
now.
chronique États-Unis. On s'arrête quelques instants. Au retour, c'est la chronique culturelle de Caroline Legault. On va entre autres parler de la nouvelle série L'Appel, la série sur l'histoire et les procès de Maurice Montboucher. Ça a l'air excellent cette série-là. On en parle dans quelques instants.
Emmenez-moi chez votre chef.
Oh, bonjour, petit homme. Ben, bien sûr, suivez-moi. Hey, au fait, y a-t-il des casinos en
So I'm
ligne sur
turning the
Internet?
pot
Hey, moi,
now.
j'adore jouer sur Play Audio lorsque je suis en
Hard to
déplacement.
stay
Ils ont des succès comme Galactic Invaders et de
in
nombreuses
that
machines
little
à jouer
slot.
passionnantes chaque semaine. Pour une expérience de casino en ligne hors du commun, consultez le casino en ligne playaudio.net. Ressentez le plaisir.
Nouvelle série de compétition.
You try the other way.
Sensation forte. À 20h, pour une fois, là où les rencontres sont tout autant inédites qu'émouvantes.
Je vais tout faire pour faire vous décevoir.
À 21h, Belle et Bomme pour des prestations musicales uniques, enlevantes, marquantes.
Je suis tellement content de passer mes soirées musicales avec vous.
Les samedis soirs dès 19h, chaque instant est inoubliable à Télé-Québec.
Transformez votre journée en jour de casino. Jouez au jackpot, jeu de table en direct et plus. Découvrez les machines à sous les plus populaires comme Book of Dead.
De conversion, ils sont pourtant interdits.
I am turning the pot.
Volontaire de Montréal, droit humanitaire de l'Église.
Both ways, I'm not seeing any difference. I don't know if it's not connected right or something.
En garde récente, la mission interministérielle de vigilance et de lutte contre les dérives sectaires a déclaré.
Okay.
Ça a l'air bon, Caroline Legault.
I'll have a look at the rectifier trim pot. Be right back. Okay, folks, so welcome back. I forget which day I'm at. I think last time I shot any footage, it was day 11, and I had to stop because although the radio had been working for a full day with the rectifier in place, but outside of the cabinet, it was working. And then at one point, as I was trying to install it on the transformer, I started getting a dead short, blew a fuse, and from that point on, I couldn't get it to work anymore. I checked and rechecked all the connections from the electrolytic can, and as far as I could tell, everything was great, was perfect. But I started thinking about it and retracing my step. What had I done? Why did it stop working? And logically, this is how the transformer, everything's apart now, so I got it, dismantled to the point where, so basically it was like this, and the wires were, let me move in closer, the wires were coming out from those two half circles, two holes, and I had moved those to make the connection on the rectifier. So I thought, well, those wires were really friable, dried up, and cracked at some places. So I put some heat shrink, and I went as deep as I could, which was just flush with the cover, with the casing. But no, it didn't solve anything. So I thought there was probably something shorting inside. So I worked about 2 hours to get all this assembly apart. It's only a matter of unscrewing, screws and bolts, but they're very hard to remove because there's a lot of varnish covering all the screws. But also, all the screws are not, they're metric, but they're not standard sizes. I have those socket drivers. I have them from 5 to 11 millimeters, and the 5 is too small, the 6 is too big, so it has to be like 5.5. Yeah, I don't know where to find that. I checked, and anyways, my point is, the suspect was a bad wire somewhere being cracked and metal being exposed. Sure enough, let me show you this. I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you. I'll try to magnify even more. You see it? Right here. See that shiny part? That's copper. That's bare wire. Right there. It's the only place I can see it, and I can tell you exactly how it happened. Well, it happened when I moved the wires slightly. Cannot move much, but they can move. And as you can see here, again, you see the varnish here and here? Well, the varnish was put probably once the wires were all connected. They put the can, they put some varnish all over it here, and it glued itself, or the wires glued themselves to that can, to that cover, and probably chemically it's eaten away at it. And look at all the white spots here. I mean, all over all those wires, and on the other side, which you cannot see, those here, those inside, which I couldn't see before. All this white stuff is present there. So I'm thinking it's fungus, some kind of a fungus or bacteria or whatever, which is probably what has been eating at least those material wires. They're not rubber. Some are. The smaller ones are rubber, the red ones, all that. But those here, they're material. They're covered with varnish now. So once that starts to crack, this is what you see. This is what you get. You get bare wires here and there. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the cause of the issue. I'm hoping it is. It was a theory to begin with. So the plan today is to clean all this with 99% alcohol, all the white stuff I see. Try to clean that, and I'll have a better view at the wires if there's more cracked insulation and bare wires anywhere. And the plan is to put some heat shrink where I can, or at the very least use liquid tape, which is basically liquid rubber. I've had success with that in the past, but it's I mean, see the size of this? Look at my finger. Look at the shiny spot here. It's I don't know, it's a quarter of a millimeter. It's tiny. But if it touches the exterior, the can, well, this is one of the primaries or secondaries. Yeah, but still, it's AC touching the can, and the whole can. I mean, everything, all the negative, the ground from the electrolytics are connected to the chassis in some way or another. So if it's what I think it is, well, no wonder I'm getting a short. So I'll get back to you once I'm done with that. It's probably going to take me many hours, and if I use liquid tape, I'll have to wait until it dries up. And but if I can, I'll, like those guys are soldered to some connectors on top. If I can, I'll desolder it and try to run some heat shrink. But the problem is, once I desolder this, well, I open up another can of worms. It's probably going to crack the insulation elsewhere, closer to the other contacts. But I'll see. And as you can see, the gauge is different. You know, the right one is a little bit bigger, and this one's a little bit smaller. Nothing is like standard. Nothing is, we don't have any references with the materials we have today and the wiring and the sizes. So I'll be honest with you. I didn't think for a second I would have to dive so deep into this radio, this transformer. But hey, it's if that's what it takes to make it to get it working again, well, I'll do it. I'm too far in anyways to stop there, right? So I'll get back to you once I'm done with that, and we'll start testing again. And maybe this is the reason why I couldn't vary the voltage with the trim pot on the new rectifier. Maybe that's the cause, since I was having a short. Who knows? So catch you later, guys.